For 150 years, baseball was the American sport, until the Dodgers went back-to-back, led by Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto. I didn't understand a thing that went on in this game, but because of Yamamoto, I'm moved. Because it seems like it's a signifier that for the first time ever, baseball isn't an American sport anymore. The world, especially Japan, has caught up and is destroying the 150-year monopoly that America has had. This is my thoughts after being forced to watch one baseball game. I've never watched this sport before. I literally never even thought about this sport since I played it in Wii Sport and I got striked out by the bald guy. Listen, man, Shohei Ohtani's good and all, and he's handsome and all, and he's 6'4" and all, and everybody in Japan likes him and all, and he's my ex's favorite player and all. But yo, let's be for real, Shohei played like garbage in the World Series. But you know who did it? You know who came in clutch in Game 7 after pitching the day before and pitching more? Let me tell you about my brother, though. My brother Yamamoto got the batter stunting, yo. Clutched the World Series, Shohei, he here to take your throne. And after the game, took flicks with K-pop stars. I'm like, please, can you save some hoes? Like what, you 5'4", pistol whipping the ball like you got slaves you own? I'm like, god damn, I thought baseball was America's sport. Like what you mean, the best player in the world is Japanese, Yamamoto is black, he come from Kate Cali. I mean, look at the composure, I know he been shot at before, this shit don't faze him no more. Took my bitch, I can't complain, he be hitting my way just to go, I got a gambling problem. Let me tell you about my brother though. Let me tell you. But in order to congratulate Yamamoto for hitting my parlays and giving me a couple thousand racks, I wanted to make this video comparing the differences between US baseball and Japanese baseball, and what makes Japan not only have some of the most talented people in the sport today, but also people that would die for it. Because God knows Yamamoto is ready to die for that chip. But in order to compare baseball with each other, I want to talk about American baseball first. American baseball started in the mid-1800s, and its first professional league, the National League, was established in 1876 in Cincinnati, the last contribution Ohio would make to pop culture until LeBron James. One big reason baseball became America's most popular sport at the time was that during the 1920s, when radios became widely accessible, no sport was more thrilling to listen to than baseball, because the sport is designed like an anime. Whereas basketball has 5 black guys on each side and everyone is cutting and running plays, and in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's case, he's getting fouled and squirming on the floor, and football has like 30 black guys running at each other for a ball, baseball was always a one-on-one between 2 white guys. A standoff between a pitcher and a hitter. The silence between pitches is pure suspense. The crowd holds its breath, the announcer's voice cutting through with anticipation. And then suddenly, the crack of the bat, the crowd roars. Base runners sprint. This is probably hype as fuck if you can't see anything. Kids these days just don't know the hype that was listening to sports. Another reason why I believe baseball was the American sport was because it had the Negro Leagues in 1920, which was a league that was created because of Jim Crow era racism that disallowed black people from participating in white activities. But then the Negro Leagues actually became good, and in 1947, Jackie Robinson became the first black player in modern MLB history when he signed with the Brooklyn Dodgers and then won MVP. I wholeheartedly believe that this is the reason why the civil rights movement was successful as it was, because black people were good at sports. Unfortunately, this is not a blessing that indigenous people have, and that's why nobody cares about their rights. But you guys need to understand that no other sport has done this. No other sport has had a whole separate league dedicated to only black players because of segregation and had it last for as long as baseball did. This was a very specific type of racism that only America had and only baseball shared with it as well. And then they saw one black guy swing and they were like, what in tarnation? Which led to the civil rights movement only 15 years later. The more I learn about baseball, the more I realize this is truly America's sport. In a lot of ways, American baseball is incredibly hard to get into, especially for newer generations. Like for example, these guys still use wooden bats. That's why in the final possession of Game 7, the bat literally broke. They also still use special rubbing mud from a secret location in New Jersey known only to one family to prepare new baseballs. To this day, each baseball is rubbed with the mud for roughly 30 seconds to remove its slick factory finish and improve grip, the same way and from the same mud source as they did in the mid-1800s. However, by the 1970s, American football became the most popular sport in the country, and basketball also scaled up not too long after that, and baseball's influence dwindled. I mean, we still have people walking around with Dodgers and Yankee caps, but that's just to showcase their gang affiliation. Nobody actually watches the sport. Except in Japan. The Dodgers spent $1 billion on 3 Japanese guys, and they won 2 championships in a row. The Japanese way of playing baseball is the product of a very specific ancient way of doing the sport that even the Americans long forgot about after they banned steroids because Barry Bonds kept hitting homers. And there is one tournament that captures this, and that is the Summer Koshien. Established in 1915, the Summer Koshien is a single elimination high school baseball tournament in which around 4,000 high schools across Japan compete. 4,000 high schools. Single elimination. Motherfucker, where y'all think anime tournament arts originate from? It comes from here. When I tell you Koshien gets serious, it gets serious. Every summer, the entire nation stops its tracks to watch a bunch of teenagers play ball on a dirt field under the rising sun. Of the 4,000 schools that compete for a spot at the summer Koshien, only 49 get to actually play at the Hanshin Koshien Stadium in Hyogo in August. And these venues fill up more than actual MLB games. Tickets routinely sell out in the 50,000 person capacity stadiums, and 40% of all TVs in Japan are tuning in to watch the finals of a high school tournament. These kids don't even get paid. Some of these kids will never play after high school, but they don't care. Because when I tell you Koshien gets serious, it gets serious. Because some of these kids that play ball here, their dream isn't even to go pro or play college. Their dream is to play Koshien with their boys. And so when they lose, they collapse on the floor, crying tears into their cup of Hennessy. But at least they got to step foot in Koshien. When I tell you Koshien gets serious, it gets serious, son. The Japanese male psyche has always had a desire to die for something, to go out with a bang, whether that is to honor the samurai way by committing seppuku, or die for the emperor, or play high school baseball. They're driven by a youthful passion to be glorious and to die for said glory. That's why high school baseball teams have instilled this militaristic mindset and training regimen to its young boys, and had them borderline idolize the tournament of Koshien, just like their grandfathers idolized the emperor and killing a lot of Chinese people. So much so that when their tournament ends for them, they all get on their knees and collect the dirt as souvenirs. Though in recent times, they've stopped being overly aggressive because a few of the kids couldn't handle practice regimens and died, which is fucking pussy shit, bro. This is why Japan is losing its influence in the global market. It just goes to show through Shohei, through Yamamoto, through Sasaki, through all these Japanese players coming in and dominating the once great American sport, that these motherfuckers would die for it. That there needs to be a religion behind the sport, however ridiculous mud spreading or Negro League in, or they need to obsess over it to make them keep going, and they need to utterly collapse when they fail, knowing that their high school career is over. At one point, baseball was the American sport, but its culture has changed. Nobody cares about the sport like the war vets used to, but for a country like Japan, a country some might say is trapped in its old ways, so much so that it's led by a woman who, when she first got into office, immediately said, y'all need to get your asses to work and have babies. It continues to get bigger and bigger because of how much of the country's DNA relates to the sport itself. The Japanese view of life, stressing group identity, cooperation, hard work, respect for age, seniority, and face, has permeated in almost every aspect of the sport. If you don't die for your high school baseball team, you should never play the sport. If you can't cry when you lose, you should kill yourself with a blade in your stomach. Yamamoto is a midget by all accounts. He stands at 5'8", but is pulling out 100km/h pitches right at my Blue Jays dome. This motherfucker supposedly never lifted weights in his life, never did squats, but he runs the world. But I cannot get upset. We lost to the GOAT. And Shohei Ohtani, a demon among demons. There's a reason why they already call him the greatest of all time. Nobody pitches and swings and break records doing so. And Rory Sasaki, he didn't do shit. He was a bench player for the series, but that's because it's not his time yet. In the Japanese leagues, he was pitching perfect games, and it's called the Demon of Reiwa for a reason. But yeah, I'm literally never watching baseball again. I'll see y'all later.